One of Joe Biden's top aides, Anthony Bernal, the guy nicknamed Jill's work husband, just ghosted Congress in an investigation on Biden's mental health acuity. Normally, when the House Oversight Committee calls, everyone answers that call unless you have something to hide. Let's get into it.
Lawmakers heard from the first Biden administration official to testify before Congress about the alleged cover-up of the then president's mental health. Aide Tandon was director of the Domestic Policy Council. Senior national correspondent Rich Edson reports tonight from Capitol Hill.
Was there an effort to disguise President Biden's condition?
Absolutely not.
Aide Tandon, the former director of the Domestic Policy Council and the first Biden White House aide to appear before the House Oversight Committee in its investigation of President Biden's condition and accusations those closest to him covered it up.
I think the American people want to know. I think there's a huge level of curiosity in the press corps with respect to who was actually calling the shots in the Biden administration.
Tandon says she was glad to answer all the committee's questions for several hours behind closed doors. Chairman Comer says Tandon was forthcoming during questioning. Biden aides Anthony Bernal, Ashley Williams, and Annie Tomasini have also agreed to speak with committee staff over the next few weeks. The committee has subpoenaed Biden's physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor. Democrats say this investigation is a sham.
Republicans trying to dig up some kind of post-impeachment or whatever we're doing here, it is an extraordinary waste of time, and the American people expect and deserve better.
Is that Don Lemon's brother?
Fox News poll, 29% of voters say the Biden White House was honest and transparent about the president's mental fitness. 68% disagree. And that includes 52% of Democrats, though that is within the margin of error. As for what to look into, 52% say it's important Congress investigates Biden's use of the auto pen. 50% say so for his decision-making. 44% say it's important to look into allegations of a cover-up. Now, a source familiar with the interview says Tandon told investigators today that when she was serving as President Biden's staff secretary, she was authorized to direct the use of the auto pen, she says, using a system that she inherited from previous administrations. The source also says that Tandon told investigators that when she was staff secretary, she had minimal interaction with President Biden in these cases and instead largely dealt with his inner circle.
Guys, you're watching On Air with Nick Driver, the Nick Driver podcast here on YouTube. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Ring that notification bell, and you'll be notified of all my upcoming videos. All right, guys. So the top Biden aide, Anthony Bernal, is refusing to appear before a House Republican-led committee on Thursday to answer questions about the cover-up of President Biden's cognitive decline while in office. They are also talking about the use of the auto pen. All right, guys. So the Trump White House pulled executive privilege shield for ex-Biden aide to testify over Joe Biden's mental acuity. And basically what that means is these aides no longer have any kind of shield, any kind of privilege. You know, they have to answer these questions. You know, guys, I think most people on the right and in the middle, centrists when it comes to politics, understand that Joe Biden was, you know, cognitively on the decline. I don't think most people looked at that and thought, wow, he's as sharp as Joe Scarborough told us he was. You know, I don't think he was the best Biden ever, like Joe Scarborough told us.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years. The Brzezinskis have known him for 50 years.
Bernal was Jill Biden's chief of staff and senior White House advisor from 2022 to 2025. And he was just a really close confidant within the Biden, you know, family. And he was basically scheduled for a closed door interview with the House Oversight Committee actually today, June 26, 2025, as part of an investigation led by Republicans into whether or not President Biden's auto pen was used to cover up cognitive decline. That is the situation we're looking at, you know, and you might say, why is this actually news? And it's because Anthony Bernal withdrew after the Trump White House waived the executive privilege. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier, guys, it basically means he no longer has a shield to decline testimony. So that's basically what we're looking at now. We do have a committee chair, James Comer, and he has basically blasted the move as obstruction, saying Anthony is running scared and basically vowed to issue a subpoena on him. So we're looking at a unfolding story. You know, I haven't seen a lot of coverage regarding this story, and this kind of goes along with a lot of the coverage we've had on this channel regarding this particular topic. Even though a lot of people did know Joe Biden was suffering from cognitive decline and, you know, just getting older, and, you know, the older you get, the more miles you put on your body, basically. And, you know, you're just not as sharp as you used to be. So most of us saw that, but, you know, CNN and MSNBC and ABC and NBC were all complicit in a cover-up, in my personal opinion, along with millions of other Americans that believe the same thing. They were complicit in a cover-up, along with people like Jake Tapper. Let's check out this article real quick. All right, guys. So this is from the New York Post here, and we're looking at this article. Jill Biden's work husband, Anthony Bernal, snubs House Oversight probe of former Biden's decline. Top aide Anthony Bernal is refusing to appear before a House Republican-led committee on Thursday to answer questions about the purported cover-up of the president's cognitive decline while in office. Bernal, known as First Lady Jill Biden's work husband and a loyal member of the family's inner circle, flouted an invitation to sit for a transcribed interview with the House Oversight Committee after Trump White House waived executive privilege for the testimony. All right, guys, there is Anthony Bernal right here in this picture, along with our ex-president, Jill Biden right here. All right, guys, you guys let me know in the comments what you guys actually think of this. You know, it's pretty crazy to me that some people can just not show up to these House Oversight Committee meetings and stuff, you know, when you're called. This was a regular American citizen and this happened. You know, I can't imagine the, you know, implications that they would actually have to face. Now, it's kind of crazy to me that some of these people are such elitists, they just don't show up to this type of stuff. If you were lying to the American public and you just don't want to be held accountable for it, you know, that's pretty crazy. You know, most of us in our lives have to be held accountable to things. You know, we have to show up for work. We have to show up for our relationships. We have to show up for, you know, anything we do in order to keep the, you know, train going, so to speak, in our own personal lives. I think Anthony Bernal needs to actually show up and answer the questions regarding Biden's cognitive decline and the use of auto pen, what is happening there. Hey, the public wants to know. Hope you guys have a blessed day. You watch your On Air with Nick Jabber podcast here on YouTube. Please like, comment, subscribe to this channel. Ring that notification bell, and you'll be notified of all my upcoming video releases. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Take care. One love, guys.